rushing into the ER. I froze as my ex lay on the table, the man who once swore he never loved me. His chest heaved under the thin sheet, blood staining the edges where the paramedics had cut away his shirt, and the metallic tang of emergency hit me like a gut punch. "Logan," I whispered, my voice cracking like cheap glass, but the doctors shoved past, barking orders, and in that chaos, every buried scar between us ripped wide open. The rain outside hammered the windows of Mount Sinai like it was trying to drown the whole damn city, mirroring the storm I'd been running from for 6 months. I'd been at the bar down in Chelsea, nursing a whiskey that burned less than the memories, when my phone lit up with a text from an unknown number. "Your boy's in a wreck. Now." No name, no details, just enough to drag me out into the downpour, hailing a cab that crawled through Manhattan traffic like it knew I wasn't ready. Logan Hayes, the golden boy of indie film, the guy who'd whispered poetry in my ear under Brooklyn Bridge at dawn, reduced to this, tubes snaking into his veins, his dark hair matted with sweat and God knows what else from the crash. I don't know how I got to his side. 1 minute I was a ghost in the hallway, flashing ID like it meant something, fiancé. Technically, on paper we never burned, and the next, I was gripping the bed rail, my knuckles white as the nurses tried to pull me back. "Sir, family only," one said, her eyes soft but firm, the kind of pity New Yorkers dole out like stale bagels. "I'm all he's got," I lied, or maybe it was the truth, depending on the night. Logan's eyes fluttered open then, hazy green slits locking onto mine, and for a split second, the world narrowed to just us. The boy who'd carved our initials into an oak in Central Park, now staring at the man he'd shattered. "Mason," he rasped, the word barely audible over the beeps and shouts. His hand twitched toward me, fingers curling like he could still reach across the chasm we dug. I wanted to slap it away, tell him to save his breath for the lies he'd spew later, but instead, I took it, our palms slick and trembling, the calluses from his guitar strings rough against my skin. That touch, it was the first hook, reeling me back into the depths I'd sworn to escape. They stabilized him quick, stitching up the gash on his forehead from where the windshield had kissed him goodbye, pumping fluids to counter the blood loss from a shattered femur. "Broken leg," they said. "Internal bruising, maybe a concussion. Nothing fatal, thank Christ, but enough to keep him here overnight." I sank into the plastic chair by his bed once the circus cleared, the room dimming to a hush under those god-awful fluorescents that buzzed like angry hornets. Logan drifted in and out, morphine pulling him under, but every time his lids lifted, his gaze found me, like I was the anchor, not the wreckage. We'd met 2 years back at a film festival in Tribeca, the kind where trust fund kids with daddy's Rolodex pretend to discover art. I was there repping a queer short I'd scraped together on a shoestring, Echoes in the Alley, about 2 guys stealing moments in a city that chewed up love like gum. Logan was the hotshot director, all sharp jaw and sharper wit, screening his debut feature that had critics whispering Oscar buzz. Our eyes met across a crowded afterparty, him nursing a gin and tonic, me hiding behind a craft beer, and when he sauntered over with that crooked smile, "Your film's got more balls than half the shit in there tonight," I knew I was fucked. In the best way. We tumbled into bed that night in his loft in Williamsburg, the kind of place with exposed brick and windows that framed the skyline like a postcard. No awkward fumblings, no second-guessing. It was fire from the jump, bodies sinking like we'd been choreographed. Afterward, Tangled in sheets that smelled like him, cedar and smoke, we talked till dawn. He confessed his folks in Ohio didn't know that Hollywood's glare demanded a straight facade. But with me, he said, he could breathe. You're my exhale, Mace, he'd murmured, tracing lazy circles on my chest. I believed him then, because who wouldn't? Logan Hayes wasn't just a guy. He was a goddamn constellation, pulling me into his orbit. But orbits decay. 6 months ago, it all imploded. His big break landed. A studio gig directing a rom-com with A-listers. The kind that screams career maker. The catch? The producer. Some silver-haired shark named Harlan, who ran his sets like a frat house and expected his directors to play along. Whispers started Logan's date to the rap party. A leggy actress with a laugh like tinkling glass. I confronted him in our kitchen, paid for with my barista tips and his festival checks, and he crumbled. It's just optics, baby. For the job. You know how it is. Optics. Like our nights in the park. Our promises etched in fogged-up car windows were props in his script. The fight escalated, words flying like shrapnel. You swore you loved me, I yelled, voice echoing off the subway rumbles below. And I do, he shot back, eyes wild. But this city's a beast, Mason. It eats dreamers alive. Then the bomb. Maybe we need space to figure this out. Space. Betrayal wrapped in a bow. I packed a bag that night, crashed on a buddy's couch in the East Village, and ghosted him. No calls, no texts, just silence, thick as the Hudson fog. Until tonight. Logan stirred again, his grip tightening on mine. You came, he croaked, a ghost of a smile cracking his split lip. I swallowed hard, the lump in my throat tasting like regret. Someone had to make sure you didn't check out without paying the tab. He chuckled, wincing, and the sound twisted something deep in my gut. We sat like that, the rain a relentless drumbeat, as the hours blurred. Nurses came and went, checking vitals, offering Jell-O cups he ignored. I fed him ice chips from a styrofoam cup, our fingers brushing in ways that screamed familiar, and for the first time in months, the ache felt less like a void and more like a bruise, painful, but healing. Dawn crept in, gray and unforgiving, painting the skyline in muted silvers. The doctor swung by, a no-nonsense woman with a clipboard and a Brooklyn accent. He's stable. We'll keep him another day for observation. You his partner. I hesitated, the word hanging like a dare. Yeah, I said finally, meeting her eyes. Logan watched me, something unreadable flickering in his gaze. Gratitude? Fear? Love? Fuck if I knew anymore. As she left, he pulled me closer, his voice a whisper. Mace, about that night. I was scared. Harlan's got pull. Yeah. But it's not just him. It's the whole machine. Agents, fans, the bullshit that comes with this life. I pulled back, searching his face, the stubble shadowing his jaw like old regrets. Scared of what? Logan? Of us? Or of admitting you threw it away for a green light? His eyes welled, the first tears spilling over, and damn if it didn't gut me. Both. God, both. I lied to you because I couldn't lie to myself anymore. But seeing you here, it's like waking up. I wanted to rage, to list every sleepless night, every bar fight I'd started just to feel something other than hollow. Instead, I leaned in, forehead to his Breathing him in, the hospital antiseptic couldn't mask that cedar core. "Then don't lie now," I murmured. "Tell me why I should stay." He did, in fragments. The crash on the FDR. Hydroplaning in the storm after a late shoot. His phone dying before he could call me. The irony of it all crashing down literally. But beneath the accident, the real wreck, the one we'd built together, spilled out too. How he'd turned down Harlan's suggestions, ghosted the actress, poured his soul into a script about two men defying the odds. "It's ours," Mace echoes, but real. By noon, they wheeled him to a room upstairs, the ER frenzy giving way to quieter beeps and cable news murmuring about some political shitstorm. I helped settle him, fluffing pillows like it was our old routine, and for a moment, it was easy. Too easy. That's when the doubt crept back, slithering in like the four-line under his skin. What if this was just the morphine talking? What if the lights came up and he chose the spotlight again? Afternoon brought visitors, his agent, a slick weasel in a Burberry trench, hovering like a vulture. "Logan, buddy," the studio's worried. "That script you ditched? They want revisions." Logan's jaw tightened, his hand finding mine under the blanket. "Tell him no. I'm doing our story." The agent blinked, glancing at me like I was the intruder, then slunk out with promises of calls. Logan squeezed my fingers. "See? No more hiding. But hiding's a habit, etched deep." That evening, as I dozed in the recliner, my phone buzzed. A text from my own ghost. Saw the news. Logan's crash. "You okay?" It was from Jake. The rebound I'd half-assed 3 months back. A bartender with tattoos and no strings. Guilt twisted, sharp as the scalpel that had fixed Logan's leg. I told myself it was closure, but it was just noise, drowning out the echo of Logan's laugh. I deleted it, silencing the screen, and watched Logan sleep. His face, slack in repose, was the boy I'd fallen for, vulnerable, alive with dreams bigger than Brooklyn. When he woke, hunger gnawing, I snuck out for real food, halal cart lamb over rice from the truck on First Avenue, the steam fogging the takeout bag. We ate cross-legged on the bed, plastic forks clinking, laughing at the absurdity, hospital gowns and gyro sauce, the city humming beyond the glass. "Remember that night in the Hamptons?" he said, wiping his mouth, eyes distant. How could I forget? We'd borrowed a friend's beach house, post-festival high, skinny dipping under a meteor shower. "You said we'd make it," I replied, the words tasting bittersweet. "We will," he vowed, leaning to kiss me, soft, tentative, tasting of spices and salt. I let him, the world tilting, but pulled back before it deepened. "One step, Logan. Don't rush the reel." Night fell again, the city a constellation of lights winking like conspirators. We talked till the nurses shushed us about the script, his folks finally coming around via a tentative email, my own stalled film dreams gathering dust. Vulnerability hung heavy, a bridge we tiptoed across. As sleep claimed him, he murmured, "Don't leave, Mace." "Not again." I didn't. Curled in the chair, his hand in mine, I guarded the fragile peace, wondering if dawn would bring redemption or just another fade to black. The next morning hit like a hangover, sun slicing through the blinds, Logan's groan pulling me from a fitful doze. His leg was propped in a sling, a Frankenstein of pins and bandages, but the color was back in his cheeks, that rogue spark in his eyes. Morning. Handsome, I teased, masking the tremor in my voice with a grin. He smirked, wincing as he shifted. You look like shit. Go home. Shower. I'll be here. Home. The word landed weird. Our loft sublet to some graphic designer. My stuff crammed in storage like forgotten props. I did as told, hailing a cab to Williamsburg. The driver blasting Springsteen, Thunder Road. Ironic as hell. The loft smelled stale. Dust motes dancing in the light like ghosts of us. Shower scalded away the grime. But not the questions, was this real? Or just trauma bonding? Toweling off. I caught my reflection, hollow cheeks, shadows under my eyes, and saw the cost of loving him. Back at the hospital by lunch. Arms loaded with his favorite. Bagels from Bagel, lox and capers spilling over. The room buzzed with energy now. Flowers from well-wishers cluttering the sill, industry types. No doubt, hedging bets on his recovery. Logan was on his phone, scrolling emails, but ditched it when I walked in. Fuel for the fire, I said, handing over the bag. We devoured them, crumbs on the sheets, trading stories like currency. He confessed the crash details. Late from set, mind on our fight, rain turning the drive into a blur. I saw your face in the headlights, he admitted, voice low. Before everything went black. Guilt gnawed at me then. Had my silence pushed him to that edge? Should have answered your calls? I muttered, but he shook his head. I deserved the radio silence. I built the wall. Mace. Afternoon brought physio. A burly guy named Rico barking orders as Logan gritted through leg lifts, sweat beading on his brow. I held his hand, counting reps, our eyes locked in that silent language we'd perfected. 5 more, Rico urged, and Logan powered through, a warrior in a Johnny. By evening, the conflict simmered back to life. Harlan called, speakerphone, the bastard's voice oily as ever. Logan, kid, glad you're breathing. But that script, too niche. Tone down the queer angle, pump up the hetero appeal. Investors are skittish. Logan's face darkened, grip crushing mine. No. It's authentic or nothing. Silence stretched. Then Harlan's laugh, cold as a winter wind. Your funeral. Or careers. Click. Logan hurled the phone at the wall, cracking the case, his breath ragged. Fuck him. Fuck all of them. I pulled him into a hug, his body shaking against mine. Anger, fear, the raw edge of defiance. Then walk, I said, fierce. We build something real. Indy, you and me. He pulled back, searching my face. You mean that? After everything? Yeah, I breathed. But no half measures. No closets. He nodded, solemn as a vow, and sealed it with a kiss. Deeper this time, hungry, tasting of cream cheese and promise. Heat bloomed, familiar and electric, but the door swung open mid-moment. A nurse with meds, eyebrows arched. We broke apart, laughing, the tension shattering like ice. That night, as rain pattered again, we delved deeper. Flashbacks unspooled, our first pride, rainbow flags whipping in the wind, his hands sweaty in mine amid the floats and cheers. The quiet terror when his agent outed a tabloid snap. Us at a diner, too close, and Logan's panic spiral, drowning in bourbon. I hated myself, he confessed, tears carving tracks. for dragging you through it. I wiped them away, thumb gentle. We dragged each other. But love's not a solo act. Sleep evaded us, words weaving a fragile web. He sketched script notes on a napkin, our story. Raw and unfiltered. Two artists in NYC. Love clashing with ambition. Betrayal's sting. Redemption's grace. I added beats, my filmmaker's eye sharpening the edges. Dawn found us tangled in conversation, the city awakening below. But peace is fleeting. By breakfast, my phone erupted, Jake again, persistent. Coffee? Missed that smile. Logan's gaze flicked over, curious, then pained. Old flame, I sighed, spilling it, the rebound, the numbness, the mistake. His jaw clenched, but he nodded. Fair. I pushed you there. No jealousy, just understanding a growth I'd missed. We're past that, I said, deleting the thread. He smiled, genuine, and we turned to plans. Discharge tomorrow, crash at my buddy's till he mended. Together, he emphasized, like a prayer. Afternoon physio pushed him harder, Rico grinning at our banter. You too? Like an old married couple, Logan quipped back. Working on it? And my heart stuttered. Married? The word hung, unspoken but potent. Evening brought takeout, pizza from Joe's, grease soaking the box, and a movie on his laptop. Broke back. Ironic therapy. We cried, laughed, held each other through the ache. Ennis's regret mirroring our own. Not us, Logan whispered. Not ever. As lights dimmed, he traced my scars, emotional ones, etched in quiet confessions. Betrayal's ghost lingered. That rap party. His arm around her for the cameras. My heart fracturing in the crowd. I watched you leave, he said. And died a little. Forgiveness isn't linear. It zigzags. But in his arms, it straightened. We kissed slow, exploratory, bodies remembering rhythms. No rush, just reconnection, fingers in hair, breaths mingling, the beeps fading to white noise. Morning of discharge dawned crisp. Autumn leaves swirling outside like confetti. Nurses bustled, paperwork shuffling, and suddenly we were out, Logan on crutches, me his crutch, hailing a cab to the East Village. The city enveloped us, horns blaring, sidewalks teeming, alive with possibility. At my buddy's walk-up, a cozy two-bed with fire escape views, we settled in, the space hours for the healing. He napped, pain meds kicking in, and I stepped out for air, the query burning. Could we rebuild on ruins? Weeks blurred into a rhythm, crutches clicking on hardwood, coffee brewing at dawn, Logan's laughter echoing off exposed beams. The East Village pulsed around us, a gritty heartbeat, street artists tagging walls, falafel carts steaming, the occasional siren wailing like a siren's call. I juggled shifts at the coffee shop, been there, done that, a hipster haven slinging lattes to laptop warriors, while Logan holed up with his laptop, hammering the script. Page 42, he'd announce, grinning over takeout tie. The betrayal scene, your line. You can't direct our love like it's improv. The stung, reliving it on paper, but cathartic too, like lancing a wound. Our days wove domesticity with depth. Physio sessions where I'd spot his lifts. Sweat slick and determined. Evenings on the fire escape. Sharing a joint as the sun dipped. Painting the skyline in fire. Ohio called, he said one dusk. Exhaling smoke. Mom wants to meet you. For real. My pulse jumped. His folks, conservative heartland stock, who'd tolerated his phase but never embraced it. You sure? He nodded, fierce. No more half-truths, but conflict brews in calm seas. Harlan's shadow loomed, emails pinged, offers sweetened with caveats. One compromise, Logan's agent urged over speaker, voice tinny. Straighten the leads, keep the heart. Logan paced, crutch thud, pivot face thunderous. It's queer or queer nothing. The call ended in static, and he slammed the laptop shut, storming to the window. I followed, hands on his shoulders. Breathe, cowboy. He turned, eyes wild. What if I tank it, drag you down too? That night, doubt festered. We argued over dumplings, me pushing indie routes, festivals like Outfest, him haunted by bills piling, the lure of security. It's not just ego, he snapped. It's us, rent, your dreams, a future. Words escalated, old fissures cracking, my resentment bubbling, his fear lashing out. You think I don't know betrayal? I yelled. I lived it. He flinched, crutches clattering as he sank to the couch. Silence stretched, heavy as fog, until he whispered, I'm sorry. Again, reconciliation came raw, tears, apologies, bodies colliding in apology. We made love slow on the lumpy futon, exploratory, tender, rediscovering maps we'd once known by heart. His leg awkward but unheeded, my hands mapping scars new and old. Afterward, curled sweat damp, he vowed, no compromises. Our truth. Dawn sealed it, coffee-scented and hopeful. Progress marked time. Logan's first crutch-free steps, cheers echoing in the stairwell. My short film greenlit for a microfest, his notes polishing it gold. We ventured out, brunch at the butcher's daughter, avocado toast and mimosas, his hand on my knee under the table, unhidden. Pride's echo lingered, rainbows faded but spirit burned. Yet betrayal's specter whispered. Jake texted once more, heard about the crash. Drinks? And I showed Logan, transparent. He read, nodded. Block him. We're solid. October chilled the air, leaves carpeting Washington Square like confetti from a forgotten party. We picnicked there one crisp afternoon, sandwiches from Zabbers, thermos of cider watching buskers and dog walkers. Remember our first fight? He mused, feeding me a grape. The one over his closet, pre-betrayal, when I'd pushed too hard. Yeah, I said. Thought I'd lost you. He leaned in, kissing my temple. Never. Scars make the story, but stories twist. Mid-month, Harlan struck, a leaked email chain. Logan's unprofessional rejection splashed on deadline, twisted to paint him erratic, post-crash. Buzz turned toxic, forums dissecting his instability, whispers of blacklisting. Calls flooded, agent frantic, friends sympathetic. Logan withdrew, script stalled, crutches abandoned for pacing furrows in the rug. Told you, he muttered one night, whiskey in hand. The machine wins. I fought back, rallying emails to allies, petition for indie backers. We're not done, I insisted, pulling him to bed. Lovemaking turned urgent, a reclaiming, nails raking, gasps echoing, but dawn brought fragility. He stared at the ceiling, voice hollow. What if I can't protect us? Vulnerability cracked him open, and I held the pieces, whispering, "We protect each other." Climax brewed slow, then erupted. A call from Ohio. His mom, voice trembling, "Your father's sick. Come home." Logan's face drained. Prostate cancer. Stage 3. The old man's pride crumbling. "I have to go," he said, packing frantic. I nodded, but tension coiled. Family meant closets. Secrets we'd buried. A Penn Station. Amid the rush, he clung. "Come with, if you want," I replied. He did, desperate, unspoken. The train to Cleveland rattled like bones. Greyhound vibes in Amtrak skin. We talked sparse. His dad's stoicism. Mom's quiet faith. The farm where Logan grew up hiding comics under floorboards. Arrival hit hard. The Hayes homestead. White clapboard sagging. Fields gold under harvest moon. His mom hugged fierce. Lila. Flour-dusted apron, eyes appraising. "The city's changed you," she said soft. Dad, gaunt in his recliner, grunted hello, gaze wary but not cold. Days blurred. Hospital vigils in stark Ohio light. Logan's hand in mine under the blanket. Whispers at first, friend from work, but truth seeped. One night, post-chemo, Dad rasped, "Heard about the crash. Glad you're whole." Logan tensed. Then spilled, "Mason's more." My partner. Silence. Then a nod, gruff, but real. Worlds shifting. Keep him close. Tears stung. Redemption. Unearned but grasped. Back in NYC. Fortified. Logan dove into the script, fueled by Heartland grit. Backers trickled. A queer fund. Festival scouts. Harlan's noise faded. Our love the louder roar. Thanksgiving loomed. Turkey scents wafting from neighbors. And we hosted small friends. Wine. Toasts to survival. But peaks plummet. December gale howled. Power flickering. When betrayal redux struck. Jake. Drunk dialing. Spilling to a gossip rag. Logan's ex's dirty secret. Crash cover-up. Lies twisted. Affair during recovery. My instability. Phones exploded. Logan's agent bailed. Harlan crowed. Rage boiled. Logan shattered a mug. Shards glittering like stars. Why him? Why now? I confessed all. The rebound's desperation. Jake's cling. I ended it, but damage bloomed, trust frayed. Accusations flying. Was it revenge? He demanded, voice breaking. No, I pleaded. Fear. The fight raged. Words weapons. My resentment. His paranoia. He stormed out, crutches long gone. Into the snow-whipped night. Hours ticked. Panic gnawing. I searched bars. Alleys. Heart in throat until a call. Logan at the ER. Voluntary check. Panic attack from stress. I raced back. The same doors swallowing me. History looping cruel. He sat in a curtained bay. Eyes red-rimmed. I'm sorry, we chorused, collapsing into embrace. Nurses left us. The room our confessional. Healing's no straight line. It loops, dips, climbs ragged. Post-ER. We checked into therapy, joint sessions with a noble shit shrink named Theo. Rainbow flag on his wall like a badge. Betrayal's a thief, he said. Glasses perched. Steals trust. But you can rob it back. We unpacked. Logan's closet as armor. My rebounds as shields. Jake as the spark that lit the fuse. Laughter crept in too, awkward role plays, Theo's dry wit cutting tension like a knife through fog. January thawed the city, slush sucking at boots, but our bond hardened. Logan's script hit 90 pages. Shattered reels. Our opus. Two lovers in NYC's grind. Crash literal and figurative. Love's defiant rewrite. I directed a table read at a Soho loft. Friends voicing lines. Air electric. Logan's eyes shone. Pride swelling my chest. "This is us," he whispered after. Curtain call hugs dispersing. Yet shadows lingered. Harlan sued, breach on the old gig, claiming Logan's erratic exit cost millions. Lawyers circled, vultures in pinstripes, draining savings. Stress etched Logan. Insomnia, script blocks, nights pacing as I feigned sleep. "We'll fight," I vowed, but doubt whispered, could love outbid the beast? One blizzard night, power out, we huddled under blankets, candles flickering like old Hollywood. "Remember the bridge?" he murmured. "Brooklyn. Dawn confessions." I did, pulling him close, lovemaking by firelight, slow and sacred, bodies a bulwark against the gale. Spring bloomed tentative, cherry blossoms dusting high-line paths, our walks hand in hand, unapologetic. Physio graduated Logan to jogs, slow laps in Tompkins Square, dogs barking approval. My film premiered small, echoes redux, Logan's tweaks earning nods. Post-screening party at a dive in Alphabet City, toasts clinking, to second acts, his kiss, public and fierce, silence doubters. Climax crested in May, Tribeca Redux. Logan's pitch, shattered reels to a panel of indie lions, room humming with scouts. He nailed it, voice steady, passion raw, our story unbowed. Harlan's suit crumbled mid-pitch. Leaks proved his harassment, countersuit brewing. Applause thundered. A producer, queer icon Elena Vasquez, cornered us after, funded. Your vision, boys, elation surged, hugs, tears, champagne spilling like joy. But joy's fragile foil to sorrow. June heatwave baked the streets, tar waving. When Ohio called again, Dad's turn for worse, hospice whispers. Logan flew solo this time. Closure, he said, but returned hollowed, eyes shadowed. He knew, he shared over diner eggs, voice thick. Last words. Love who you love, son. Don't waste reels on regrets. Grief hit title. Nights sobbing in my arms. Days scripting fury into art. I held space. Brewing tea. Walking silent, love as witness. Summer solstice partied on, rooftop bar in Bushwick. Friends toasting Logan's green light. Fireflies? Not. String lights twinkling. Bass thumping. We danced close. Sweat slick. His breath hot on my neck. "Marry me?" he murmured. Ring box materializing, simple band. Engraved exhale. Heart stuttered. Yes tumbled out. Cheers erupting. But proposals high crashed low. Jake's final stab, a blog post. Venomous. Outing Logan's weakness. Trolls swarmed socials. Hate mail flooding. Rage unified us. Logan went public. Instagram Live. Raw and radiant. This is Mason. My fiancé. Our story's queer. Messy. Real. Haters? Fade to black. Views exploded. Allies amplified, glad nods. Op-eds praising. Harlan settled out of court. Tail tucked. Betrayals echo faded. Drowned in support's roar. Fall gilded again. Leaves crunching under wedding plans, small. City hall. Rooftop vows under harvest moon. But humanism tempers triumph. Logan's mom's visit. Baking pies in our kitchen. Tentative bridges to Ohio kin. My folks. Cali transplants. Zoom teary approvals. We wrote letters to Dad's grave. Forgiveness scripted. Buried in soil. December circled back. Anniversary of the crash. We revisited Mount Sinai not as patients, but donors. A queer youth fund. Stories like ours funding dreams. Our doors swung familiar, but now harbingers of hope. That night, Williamsburg loft reclaimed. Our home. Walls echoing laughter we toasted with whiskey. To shattered vows remade, Logan said. Ring glinting. Love's not linear. It's montage clips of ecstasy. Edits of ache. We'd betrayed. Been betrayed. Risen scarred but whole. In his arms. City humming lullaby. I knew. Endings aren't finales. Just intermissions. Ours? Open-ended. Raw. American as apple pie with a twist. Winter wrapped its chill embrace. But our fire burned steady. Holiday lights strung across the fire escape. Twinkling like stars we'd claim. Wedding day dawned powder blue. Flurries dusting Central Park like confectioner's sugar. City Hall loomed quaint. Stone steps slick. But Logan's grin thawed any frost. Tucks sharp. Boutonniere a red rose for passion's thorn. I matched. Nerves electric vows we'd penned. Simple ink on heart's page. The ceremony blurred magic. Officiant warm. Friends crammed in oak-paneled room. Theo witnessing. Elena snapping pics. I vow to direct our chaos into art, Logan recited. Voice steady. Eyes locked. To love without cuts. Mind tumbled. To catch your exhale. Every take. Rings slid home. Kiss ceiling, salt-lipped. Fierce. Cheers erupting like popcorn. Outside. Snow swirled confetti. Cabs honking benediction. Rooftop reception at the Standard. Manhattan views. Heaters humming. Toasts flowing. To reels unbroken. Honeymoon. Staycation in our loft. Takeout feasts. Binge rights. Bodies mapping joy. Script wrapped. Shattered reels locked. Post looming. But life scripts twists. Elena's call. Production snag. Lead actor out. Reshoots looming. Logan paced. Old fears flickering. What if it flops? I pulled him down. Straddling laps. Then we pivot. Together. Lovemaking affirmed. Urgent. Affirming. Dawn chasing shadows. Spring shoot bloomed chaotic. Brooklyn lots. Rain delays. Logan's helm steady. AD'd. Calling shots. Our synergy silent shorthand. Rap party wild craft beers. Hookah clouds. Logan's speech raw. This film's for the Logans and Masons. Queer hearts in straight worlds grind. Applause thundered. Elena hugged fierce. Oscar bait. Boys. Summer premiered. Sundance buzz. Shattered screening to gasps. Standing O. Critics raved. Visceral queer epic. Betrayals bomb. Queer press crowned it anthem. Harlan faded footnote. His empire crumbling under suits. We jetted Telluride. Hands clasped in throngs. Love's spotlight warm. But humanism humbles. Logan's mom's passing, quiet. Farmlit drew us Midwest. Funeral plain. Hymns haunting. Kin nodding at the husband. We scattered ashes by the oak where he'd carved boyhood dreams. Logan's tears mine to hold. She saw us, he whispered. Whole, back east. Grief-fueled. Sequel seeds. My featured directing gig. Fall awards swirled. Shattered nabbing glad. Indie spirit nods. Red carpets glittered. Logan's arm mine. Uncloseted. Unbowed. Acceptance speech gut punch. For dad, who learned late. For betrayals that birth truth. Love wins? Nah, love fights. Emmy whispers followed. But we grounded, East Village walks. Falafel dates. Fire escape stargazing. Winter looped. Anniversary eve. ER revisit. Now gala donors. Youth shared stories, echoes of ours, and Logan's eyes misted. Full circle, he said later. Bed tangled. I traced his scars, Crash's legacy. Love's map. And just beginning. Years montage. Kid via surrogate. Theo's nudge. Rainbow Nursery. Logan's Oscar. My nom. Ohio Farm Trust for Queer Arts. Betrayals? Faded reels. Lessons etched. We aged graceful, silver threading hair. Lines laughter carved. On Brooklyn Bridge. Dawn's hush. He murmured. Still my exhale. I grinned. Always the hook. In America's vast script. Dramatic. Flawed. Redemptive. Ours played on two men. Vows shattered then forged. Love's light cutting dark. Human. Messy. Eternal.